This is Channing Humphrey with Semi Pro Live, and we are back. We are here with our proud partners for this episode. This episode is brought to you by Laser Time Combines, a proud partner. You're going to see us doing more and more events. You'll be able to see my good friend Brian's face and more Semi Pro Live sponsored events. So be on the lookout. But before we get started, we have to give some love to our luxurious hosts. We have Mama's Pizza, man. And this is kind of a place that has a special place in my heart. I'm a little bit younger than Brian, but we both remember being able to eat at this amazing pizza place as teenagers in high school. I remember they built one right down the street from Lamar High School off of, Fielder and I think Fielder and Davis. But pop out this particular location. We're over here at 9101 26 Boulevard in North Richland Hills. Great facility, great pizza. Swing over to the side. I got my son over here. He's putting it away. So you know the food's good. Even if it wasn't, he might still be eating it like that either way. But, man, Brian, I'm doing a little bit too much talking, man. Let's talk about some of the guests we're going to have on the show today.
Absolutely. We're excited to, number one, have you guys back with Laser Time Football Combines. And the experience that we had, I don't know how long it's been, 4 or 5 weeks ago in Temple, was just it was just a good experience and a good time. And you and I just kind of clicked and it just kind of flowed well. And, this is a good platform for us as a company to reach so many, kids, parents, college recruiters, hopefully, or whoever, or even high school coaches, to kind of take a look at what we're doing and the why of what we're doing, and we can get into that in just a second. So I'm glad we're back together, for this event tonight. So,
well, man, we've got a couple of guests coming on today. So we're going to have Matt come on. Matt is actually a director of operations. He's got to tell us a little bit of a brief history about himself. We'll have him on in a second, Matt. And then after that, we're going to have, this one's rare because I've been to all types of events around the country. And I've had all types of owners of companies or people who put on events tell me that whatever they're doing is going to help the kids get into college or further their careers. No proof of that, no evidence of that, but they always tell you that. Well, my guy who's running Laser Time Combines, and he's running them to help kids get ready for college and to push themselves to the next level, he actually brought us a guest of an actual real-life college recruiter. So we have some questions that we have from some young athletes around the Texas area. We got some athletes from the Houston area, some athletes from the DFW. And we're just going to get to know a little bit more about the recruiting process today.
Awesome. Well, let's first just I want to kind of share with the audience, why did I even start this thing? That's probably one of the first questions that gets asked of people that when I tell them, hey, this is what we're doing now, what led you to do that? Well, my background, I coached 23 years of high school sports, 18 with football. I'm really, if they were asking my true background, it's baseball heavy. But at the end of the day, I'm about kids. And when you get in and you stay in the profession that long, your actions speak louder than what you might be able to say. So one of the largest reasons that I started this was there's a tremendous amount of camps, instructional type events, and that's a good thing. I am not by any means knocking that. However, as a former football coach, I thought about if I'm a recruiter and I'm watching, let's just say that you're fast. Oh, we know you're not. But let's just say that I'm watching you on film, right? And I'm saying, man, that Channing, number 22, whatever, he's really fast. Well, that's great. But if you can't measure something in life, it's meaningless. So my thought was, okay, now wait a second. The laser timing arena is starting to become more prevalent in terms of providing, like Coach Glover, he'll talk about it in a minute, but providing college coaches with honest, independent numbers. Not somebody that Uncle Johnny is running the stopwatch. Frankly, the stopwatch is becoming a dinosaur, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. But when colleges are they have this much money to spend, let's say, right? Especially at the Division II level and down, not so much D1 guys, okay? They'll find D1 guys. But Division II, there's only so much money in the pile. Well, if they can have a laser timed NFL style combine that we put on and we do all 5 events, it gives them all sorts of measurements. But more than anything, I'm going to go back to why I started this company is I grew tired of the fudging of numbers. Okay, because I'll step back and I'll plug Texas Wesleyan again. So from 2000 to 2022, I was the assistant baseball coach and recruiting coordinator at Texas Wesleyan. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I remember those days of Channing sending me his profile and that he's, 6'2", he's out of Arlington Lamar and he throws 94 and he has a 4.0. Well, all of a sudden I'm excited, right? I'm going to make plans to go down, drive down to Arlington. Well, I show up and Channing's throwing 82, and the data and the stats don't match up. Not necessarily Channing's fault, but the measurement application, it doesn't always match with the resume that comes in. And so these guys at the college level, they have limited time and budget to get off campus, to find those true people that they want to bring in. And it's a sincere waste of time if somebody's providing a stopwatch clock and the numbers are not accurate and they make all this effort. I mean, I've lived it. And so that was kind of my thinking when I started this. I said, listen, kids deserve the truth. Okay. At the end of the day, they deserve the truth. And what we do, we are a third-party testing company only. I don't recruit. I don't help you get to a school. I don't solicit you. That's not what we do. We bring our laser time equipment, which, by the way, is the official equipment of the NFL that is performed every week, first week in April in Indianapolis. It's the exact same equipment, the exact same tests and requirements are performed at our events, okay? And so it doesn't get more accurate than that. But going back to what I said, the kids need the truth, because if I know, my heart, I want to go play in college, okay? Not that it was always an intentional thing, but if I don't have true, raw, provable data that was truly measured in a lasered way, at some point, guys, you're going to have to go through a laser test. And so that may be 3 years down the road, but you're delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
So be honest with yourself and your family and just know where you are now, okay? So now you have a plan, you want to work with skilled guys, you want to go to camps, that's great, but you have to know where you are honestly right now so you can put a plan in place to get to where you want to be. If you don't know where you are, the chances of you getting there make it very difficult. So that's why I started the company. But at the same time, I care about kids. If I wanted to make this a money thing, I could very easily charge $100, $125. But that's not my sole intent. I mean, no one gets into business, right? We've said this before, to not make money. But our price point, guys, everybody out there, is anywhere between $30 and $40. Okay? That's it. Now, can I say in 3 years it won't be that? I don't know. But my point is, and this is in our mission statement, it's very important to me that every child, I don't care what street they live on, what city they're from, how much money they have, don't have, I want to provide an opportunity at that price point, which I think is very affordable for what we provide, that every kid that wants to try this can do it and do it at that price point. So that's extremely important to me.
Man, now, in a weird coincidence, talking about Lamar High School, as he brought up in his story, I remember my junior, senior year, it was time to do weigh-ins, and we were doing the standard tests, things of that nature. And I remember we had some small running backs, and everybody was putting 5-pound weights in their cargo shorts that could be a little bit heavier. Ryan Davis. So maybe we do need these unbiased laser times to keep everybody honest. Shout out to Ryan, that's my dude, man.
Yeah.
He's got a young son who's a killer coming up in the game. I don't think he has to put weights in his pockets.
So, we talk about, our company's Laser Time Football Combines, but I really want to emphasize this. So we also are synonymous with providing the SAT, not the academic SAT, but let's talk about what the academic SAT does, right?
Tell us more about that, because
Okay.
a lot of our audience may not be familiar.
No problem. So obviously the academic SAT, right? You take the test, but you're being tested and evaluated on what? 3 to 4 subjects, correct? Well, we do the SAT, but we call it the standard athletic test. And we're measuring what? 5 different subjects, but they're 5 different drills that all colleges want the data from.
Regardless of sport.
And so regardless of sport, and that's the thing, and I will not talk too much about this, but I will tell you, for you multi-sport athletes, this will not be a football-only service because of what we just talked about. It's a standard athletic test. It can tell a soccer coach. It can tell a baseball coach. It can tell a basketball coach a lot of things that they want to know. And it's what? Done by a third-party testing company that has no skin in the game whatsoever. So that's about all I'll say with that, but that is coming probably in the near future. So by no means are we stepping out of the football realm, because this is why we're here, especially in this state. So, but I just want to keep that, keep those 3 letters in your head and in your mind, because it is the SAT for standard athletic testing for various sports.
Well, while we have a couple of seconds, let's talk about some of your top performers from the previous event that you went ahead and had. I'm going to let you go ahead and discuss this and just tell us a little bit about what went down over at Premier Events National Championships.
Yeah, so we had, I want to say we had 70 plus kids possibly that ran through our event, and we were able to get 70 kids through the event in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I don't by any means want you to think when you come out with that many people that you're going to be standing around all day long in 105 or whatever it is today degrees.
Oh, you ran it through there, man.
So-
I think we were only out there about, 2 hours?
I'm gonna go ahead and be
And I-
conservative and say 220, but I really think it was more toward.
Well, I don't think the kids were out there that long. I think we were. We were out there for
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
I
So
think the kids maybe spent 20 minutes outside. It wasn't too bad.
it wasn't bad, and they had to go. Another thing is, guys, this is a great experience for you, And so let's just kind of review some of the top performers from those 75 kids at the national tournament in Temple. So, and some of these numbers are unbelievable, especially for some of the ages of these young men.
And there's some big name athletes were out there as well. Some people you may know from the FBU circuit.
So we had Caleb Thomas. You'll probably be able to help me kind of as we go with maybe where he is. I don't know what club or organization, but he was 15, and he ran a 4.840. That's not bad at 15 years old. And that's laser time, guys. I can't emphasize this enough. That is the truth of the truth.
I think Antonio Brown ran a 4.9 at the combine.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a 15-year-old kid that did that. He ran the shuttle drill in 4.7, which I think kind of I don't know exactly what the standard is on that, but that's a pretty fast time as we'll see in a minute. We did the broad jump at 9 feet 4 inches. He almost jumped off the mat. So kudos to you, Caleb. You did very well, and then you ended up with a 27-inch vertical. So I'm not going to go through everybody for the sake of time, but I am going to highlight some of the bigger numbers. So we had Christopher Boykin he's 16, and he ran a 4.74 40. And I will say this, and I think you remember this, and I love you, Chris. But as good as you did at 4.74, about 4 yards before the end of that 40, you geared off. You shut it down. So I say that lovingly.
And that was on grass.
And it was on grass.
Probably soccer length grass. It wasn't ready for football yet, so that was very impressive.
Chris, I mean that with love. I don't mean that as a slap or anything like that.
That's Mr. Seatbelt from FBU.
So
you guys seen the clip.
You'll actually be playing in the All-Americans.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Congratulations to Chris. Speaking of numbers, he's going to be at the NBC Is the Under Armour All-American game still?
I'm sorry.
They don't pay us. We don't know.
Yeah, we're not gonna plug that.
Yes, that All-American game. Another athlete, Winston Watkins, earned a trip out there as well.
So let's go through a couple more, and forgive me for those that were our top performances. For the sake of time, I won't be able to get through every one. But Sean Gilbert was 17. He had a 30-inch vertical. Duke Strain, only 14, had a 30-inch vertical at 14.
Frisco Lightning,
Okay,
They
so
got athletes up north.
by the way, y'all hit me up, Frisco Lightning. I've been trying to track y'all down, so let me know how I can help and be a part of you guys. So, but then again, let's go
They're gonna
back.
clip this part down right here of us talking about one of their players. This will be on their Instagram tonight.
Okay, so let's look at this. So the cone drill, okay, or the L drill is what a lot of times they refer to.
Okay.
And I know this, right around a 6.2 is a common or is an average time or a very good time for an NFL standard caliber player in Indianapolis. So Mr. Boykin ran a 6.8. So, and I will say this before I move on. We can move on to something else, but I try to say this as much as I can on social media. But guys, listen to me. As much as you work on your athletic drills, your cuts, your moves, your catches, your throws, your technique, and I want you to continue that. You need to continue that. However, as much as you put time into that, you absolutely need to put time in practicing these 5 standard athletic test events that the NFL people run because, and we've had, Matt, and we have another person that helps us named Dylan. We've actually posted, or Dylan has, 2 pictures of exactly how to get in the correct stance before you run the 40 and the broad jump. And guys, I'm not kidding you. It could. I'm not saying it will, but again, budgets are budget. It could come down to the guy that practiced more and shine better that day at a combine, whether it's ours or not. It's not necessarily the point. So I encourage you, and that's to all athletes. I know you can't commit all the time as much as they do on the football side or the skill side, but please, it's worth your time, and it's an investment into you. If that's where you want to go, you will go through this at some point. You want to shine well. So, you got a question?
Oh, no, I was going to say, with this portion being finished, you want to go ahead and bring on some of our guests?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a really good time, number one. And I think the kids had a good time, but you got to remember this, what we're doing and the way we're doing it, okay, is brand new to kind of the mass audiences. Most kids have never gone through this at all. So even just going through something new, right? Everyone's nervous, right? And those types of things. So I guarantee you, if those same kids came back and we did this again, those numbers would get shaven off and dropped and dropped and dropped. So yes, let's segue into our guests.
Well, all right, man. We have a couple of high-level guests for us. We have the highest-level guest for Laser Time coming on first. We've got Matt, man, the Director of Operations. So, Matt, you pulled over on the side of the road, was on his way to the house for Laser Time for us. I want to thank you for coming on. So, I met Matt in his other career because he's a jack of all trades. You might be familiar with him over around the Brewer Fields with Premier Events. He's running a very successful, is it athletic training business, or how am I supposed to refer to it?
Yes, sir. You could call it that. We just kind of the way I got involved in all of this was really like an act of God, is how I would really label it, because we just got got together, just kind of about like just being of service and helping people who aren't as fortunate as us to where they're able to compete and be recognized as well. And just kind of got started talking about how me as an athletic trainer, how my in my when you talk about my career, we talk about prevention and care, but then there's also a performance based that aspect to that as well. So there's different things that I can do to enhance the performance of another athlete, such as doing some dry needling, doing some cupping, helping them with their stretching, or helping them with their warm up, just to get them to a point where they can perform at their peak. And that's just kind of where I kind of got involved with Brian with Laser Time Football Combines, and just taking things into consideration that most people don't, is maybe how we structure events, how we should structure a warm up, what is the weather looking like at this point in time, because a lot of people don't know that as an athletic trainer we are a jack of all trades. And so that I just kind of brought that aspect of my career to Laser Time Football Combines, to just give all of these athletes and parents the best service that we could possibly give them.
And just to build on top of that, I've been out to a lot. I'm gonna be honest. I've been out to a lot of events. And I know there's a lot of parents and coaches are gonna cringe when I say this, but I've seen some kids get busted up, man. So the fact that this is gonna have this type of event and actually have a trainer on staff who's part of the company who's gonna be there to attend to anything that could happen, it's just a little bit extra something to give the parents a little bit more, put their minds at ease when coming to these events, because it's a non-contact event. You can get the same type of exposure you would get at a football event, but you're going to also have the people there who's going to be concerned about your child's safety. But so tell us about some of the long-term goals that you have with Laser Time Combines.
Well, as far as long-term goals, I would hope that eventually we get to a point where I have other athletic trainers that are available previous to the start, as well as post event, to where kids can get worked on, either if they need to just recover from their game or from their events, like if they just went out and they just did the entire combine, and then they the next day, then we have maybe like recovery boots or Theraguns available for them to use or utilize post event. And then pre-event, just us being present to help them with their warm up, because I've noticed one thing with camps is that kids kind of just do their own thing, but it's really like nobody is sweating, and is the number one form the body cools itself. You're not sweating, that means your body's not warm. So how do you expect to perform at your peak if you're not even warm to do that? And so that those are different aspects as to what my long term goal would be in as far as implementing athletic training into a company.
Something that you mentioned that I hadn't taken into consideration was that you were out there with recovery items ready to help the athletes recover at these events. I think a lot of the parents that go out to the events and they think you're only supposed to go see the trainer when you're injured. They're not thinking that, someone's paid for them to be out here to help your child recover. It's 100-degree heat. You can come over to the tent, get his legs worked on, and that may be the difference in your team winning and losing that particular tournament event, or even when you're getting done with the combine, let's say you're going to a game afterwards, being able to perform at your maximum potential after that. So a great asset to have out there for these young people as they go forward in their careers. But let's talk a little bit more about SATs, man. What does that mean, and why are they so important?
So
Matt? Sorry, I was looking away from the camera. I was looking down at the iPad. Matt, so tell us more about SATs.
So essentially, before you go somewhere, you need to know where you're starting, right? And so if you don't know where you're starting, how do you know which direction you need to go? You never if you've never tested your 40-yard, or you've never tested your 5-10-5, how do you know that you need to get better at that in order to help your process? So with the SATs, essentially a system that compares you to a numerous amount of athletes from all ranges, um, to let you know where you are, or where your standards are, and to kind of give you a reflection. So a big issue I would say with uh, the upcoming generation, the inability to reflect and take constructive criticism. And so it this us being a third party testing company essentially gives you that constructive criticism right in your face, and allows you to have conversations with your coaches and say, hey, I did this event last weekend, and this is where my results are. How can I get better on this? Or go talk to your trainer, like, hey, my hamstrings, it just feels like I'm not performing the best that I need to. And so it really, as much as it creates a resume for participants, it also creates a a tunnel for conversation, for you to have with your coaches, to with your parents, to know where you need to go and where you need the most help. Because if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where you are, you'll never know where you're going.
Right. Right. Well, Matt, you're, first of all, I know you well, and you're being humble as always. That's what I love about you. But I have to say this, and I want to say this out loud publicly. This guy has brought so much to our company. I can't. We don't have enough time to really itemize it, but he knows how I feel, and I want everybody out there to know how important he is to me personally, and how much just different thoughts or different ways, and how we get together and kind of brainstorm. And, you know, inevitably, he comes up with things that are just, they're so much better than me, in the sense that it's just a different perspective, right? Like, I'm coming from more of a coach type perspective, and then he's coming from what obviously he spoke about. But Matt, sincerely, thank you for all that you do for this company and for me personally. And he is like he'll tell me, Brian, I got this. Calm down. You're okay. Calm down. And I'm telling you, it does. Like, when he's with me, it's almost like Linus' security blanket on Charlie Brown or something. Because I'm like, okay, I've got my guy. He's got it all taken care of. I can breathe, and I can walk around and kind of enjoy this thing a little bit versus, just kind of being frantic a little bit. So thank you, Matt, and thank you for spending time and pulling over on the side of the road on a long day. And, he's going to have great success, obviously with us, a part of us, but we're also going to combine forces and really provide a setting through this SAT or a combine that, once again, this concept's not being done either. It's not. So anyway, thank you, Matt.
First thing you last. Well, hey, man, we're not done with guests, man. I know you guys have been seeing them right on the screen. Next up on our show, we have Ryan Glover. Ryan, if you could introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, sir. I'm Ryan Glover. I'm the wide receiver coach coordinator here at Texas Wesleyan University.
All right. All right, Ryan. Well, hey, man, let's talk about Texas Wesleyan, man. Tell us about the location of the school. What's your mission statement? What kind of athletes you guys are looking for, and what are some of the traits that you're looking at of some of these young athletes?
Yes, sir. So we're located in Fort Worth, Texas, right in the heart, about 2 miles from downtown Fort Worth. The athletes that we have on campus right now, we have about 60 on campus right now, 120 total on the roster. All of our guys are mostly Texas guys. We have guys in Florida and Louisiana as well. So we recruit nationwide, but we stay mostly in the DFW area and Houston area. And so we have a good group of guys, and we're definitely excited for this season.
All right. Well, Producer, are we going to start with me asking questions, or we just want to get into the kids asking questions?
We can start with the kids.
Let's start with the kids.
Who would you like to go, who's first? Introduce I guess, our question people.
All right, man. Well, we'll start off with Dash. Dash is one of our first ever Semi-Pro Live featured athletes, so go check him out on Instagram. Dash was Dash.Williams.